Hey guys, Abby with Motor City Nerds here. Merry Christmas. Hi to the new subscribers. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like the video. It's free. It really helps me out. There's a little piece of information that when I know it was a big deal, but, and I'm proud of it, but I don't know, it just never really gets brought up. Do you guys remember when Jingle All the Way got sued back in the day for plagiarism? Yeah. That was my uncle, and he won against Fox Studios. So yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Now, I watched Jingle All the Way for the first time. It's fun. It's a fun movie. I can see why people really like it. I can see why it was a big deal. But yeah, I remember when all that was going down, and to me, it was when I was in what, 3rd grade? Yeah, it was '01, and that would have been, yeah, it would have been 3rd grade, and I remember that was when I remember that was when it was really getting big, and like our family just knew like Uncle Bobby's in a lawsuit, and a movie you might know that he produced because he was a producer, and he worked his ass off, like playing the piano and doing bar gigs at night in Detroit so that he could fund his passion, which was film. And he did the Rosary Murders, and it was filmed at Holy Redeemer and in Southwest Detroit where they grew up, and Holy Redeemer's where my mom and dad got married. And the Rosary Murders I was going to review it for Halloween, but then you guys know this year has just been a lot, and a lot of big things have happened, and my life has just been really hectic. But then I joke around, but I'm serious. I'm like, why do you guys think that I don't back down when Ford and UAW are coming at me sideways? I'm like, I don't care how big and bad you are, you're in the wrong. And then I read these articles back, and I remember my Uncle Bobby, and I'm like, man, dude, it's not my fault. It's just in my blood. And yeah, he was like, you ain't gonna step on the little guy. Now, his, what do you call it when they're using, like a stage name? He went by Bobby Laurel. And I think if you type it into Google, he's more credited for being a musician. And like I said, he busted his ass at night doing gigs so that he could fund to make movies, and he loved it. And yeah, the Rosary Murders has like Donald Sutherland in it. It's a legit movie, and it's good. Like, it's decent. Is it the greatest thing ever made? No. Is it good? Yeah. And my work is in the background at the scene where the guy's running and the car hits him. Yep, that's the rouge behind it. He had a singing Doberman that would sing with the piano. That was awesome. And he had the tombstone from the Rosary Murders in his backyard, and he had a lion named Lord Jim, and I'm pretty sure, I didn't see the lion, but that was a thing. Like, that was a thing that everybody knew about, was that he had a lion, and I don't know if his neighbors got upset, or, I like how I'm saying it like it's totally normal. It's like, no, I wouldn't want somebody to have a lion next to me either. But I think he said, I remember him talking to me about it. I loved my great Uncle Bobby. The nights when my grandma and my Uncle Tom would take us to great Uncle Bobby's when they played cards was the best. He was just the funnest guy. He would like try and scare you with the tombstone, and he had like his whole bathroom and hallway were done in those the crying clown paintings, and it was I have really, really fond memories with my great Uncle Bobby. But he just had a tiny company, and Murray Hill Productions, and yeah, I heard about the lion, Lord Jim. But I think he was on a harness. Because I remember my Uncle Bobby talking about it. He was just like, yeah, he was on a harness. And it's like, no, you probably shouldn't have had that. But I'm wondering if it was through somebody in the movie industry. And he was like, no, I'll just take it. And it's not like he was in the country. He was in like a residential neighborhood with a lion in his yard named Lord Jim. I think they tried to reopen this, or they tried to like appeal it. And something happened after. But no, Fox lost, and it was a huge deal, and they were calling it David versus Goliath in Hollywood. Those were the headlines it was having. And to me as a little kid, it was just like, oh well, great Uncle Bobby's in this lawsuit with this movie that I know a lot of my friends love. And I think that it just stuck with me that like, no, my uncle was suing you, so I'm just never gonna watch this movie. And they proved in court that yeah, you stole this. He didn't write it. I believe it was like a science teacher, like a regular guy wrote it. And then my great uncle and his production people, they bought it. And then Turbo Man. And then Jingle All the Way came out, and he was like, yeah, no, not today. Let's go then. And took them to court. And I remember this. I remember like from a personal experience. I remember like it being talked about around me. And I remember them saying like, do you know how much backing they have? Do you know how big this is? Do you know how big these people are? Like, and he did not care. It was literally, they are in the wrong. they did do this, and I'm not going to back down. But before we get into all of that, I watched this all the way through for the first time, and like I said, it's not anybody who worked on its fault. It's the people who stole its fault. And like I said, it was 20th Century Fox, and you got sued and you lost, and then you tried to appeal it, and something else happened with it. But either way, you lost. They proved that you stole this movie, and this was in like nationwide papers and stuff. It changed the way they were writing contracts for writers and stuff. And it was like this tiny little production company that was just like, no. And that was my uncle. It's a fun movie, and honestly, I didn't watch it as a kid, and I know a lot of people that did grow up watching it. It's just I never watched it, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's the movie my uncle was suing. I'm not going to watch it, whatever. It is what it is. But watching it as an adult, I do appreciate, like, because we know the feeling of like, oh God, I didn't go and get whatever, and I have to run out the door, and I have to get this gift. And I think it did a really good job of showing what it was like back in the 90s with Black Friday psychoticness. Do you guys remember Furbies and Tickle Me Elmo and adults clawing each other's eyes out and stuff? It was craziness. Yeah, if you're too young to know those things, look it up. It was insanity. But it did a really good job of, yeah, there's a lot of goofs and gags, but Sinbad, where'd you go? Come back, Sinbad. But what is come back, we love you. Sinbad's hilarious. He's so freaking funny, and I don't know why he doesn't do stuff anymore. I think there needs to be a Sinbad-assance, and he needs to make a comeback. Definitely something relatable as an adult, of like, oh God, I gotta run around. Also, Anakin's in it, little baby Anakin, super adorable. That kid is so freaking cute in that and in Phantom Menace. As a movie, yeah, it's a fun time, and I can see where if you grew up on this, you would have a special place in your heart for it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. And I just thought it would be fun to do the night of Christmas Eve is talk about a movie that takes place on Christmas Eve that my uncle sued. I remember when, like I said, when this was happening. Like, and when you're a little kid and you like hear the family talking about stuff that you don't really know or pay attention. Like, I remember them being like, "That's what?" And he was just like, "I don't care. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how bad you are. Like, let's go." Also, we used to have a 3-on-3 tournament every year playing basketball. And I remember one time I'm pretty sure like a fist fight almost broke. This is my great uncle. He also passed away on the basketball court, which is what he wanted. I swear to God, this is a true story. He sank a 3-pointer in his senior league and then died of a massive coronary attack. And now I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. I loved my great uncle Bobby. I remember my mom telling me that he passed. I remember where we were. I remember that she didn't pick me up in the car from school. She walked, and we walked home, and she was like, "I got to tell you something." And I was like, "Oh my God." And we used to go there all the time. It was awesome. But very rarely does somebody get to go out the way they want to. And my great uncle Bobby did. He was like, "I don't want to suffer. I want to just go. And I want to die on the basketball court." And he did. He sank a 3-pointer and had a massive heart attack and died right there. And I'm like a boss. Not many people get to go how they want, and that's what he's like, "I don't want to suffer." But I remember I was so sad about that. But I remember this situation like being discussed. And then, like I said, if you know me and my issues with my union and the company and the way that they have knowledge of things and the way they treat the little guy at work, where I work now, I don't give a shit. I don't care if you are an empire. I don't care. If you're doing something wrong, I'm going to speak on it, and I'm going to let people know that they're not alone. And then I'm like, oh God, now I know why I am the way I am. And it's not a bad thing. But yeah, he went by Bobby Laurel. This was nationwide news. It was in the LA papers. It was in the New York papers. I didn't realize the magnitude of it until I got older and would bring it up. And then movie people would be like, "That was your family?" And I'm like, yeah. And then one time I brought it up with John from Movie Lovers Unite and Alex from A-Town Reviews, and they were like, "No, we know what you're talking about." And I was like, yeah, this was my great uncle Bobby. He had a lion named Lord Jim and a singing Doberman. And he would always give us ice cream when we went there and let us watch whatever cartoon movie we wanted, and he would rent us whatever we wanted, and it was great. But I'm just going to read to you some of the articles that were posted. But we have from law.com, jury, 20th Century Fox stole the idea for Jingle All the Way. A jury ordered 20th Century Fox to pay $19 million for copyright infringement in connection with the 1996 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Jingle All the Way. The jury concluded that the studio clearly based the movie on a Detroit biology teacher Brian Webster's copyrighted script, which he sent to Fox in 1994. If you're new to the movie studio life, or like knowing the intricacies of that, you guys remember the writer's strike And that's why a bunch of TV shows suffered, like Lost has like a really crappy season or two. The Office does. That's because of the writer's strike. That's because of things like that. And yeah, writers aren't treated the greatest. And this was a big deal to happen. And so this guy, Brian Webster, a regular teacher from here, sent this script in. Now, if I'm the movie studio and I go, I want to make this movie, I have to pay you for that. They did not do that. My uncle and his production company bought it when Fox didn't. But Fox went ahead and made the movie anyway and said that they didn't steal it. But writers do get taken. I mean, a lot of people do. And that's why when people are like, Hollywood, 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 I'm like, no, I know there are freaks there. And I know that there are people that probably do weird crap or whatever, and people are effed up. I'm fully aware. But, and I say this all the time, so many people work on something that it's like, that's the reason why I was saying The Flash shouldn't get shut down. Because I was like, yeah, Ezra Miller, you're out here being a menace. I still don't believe the reason that Warner Brothers gave, but it is the exact reason that I said they should have said from the beginning, is saying we're going to get this man help and we don't know what we're going to do yet, but we have to put this movie out. But either way, I didn't want that to get shut down completely, because I was like, do you know how many people work on a movie? It's not just the main actor. And then when people are like, oh, this freak, and it's like, okay, fine, don't support them then. But do you know that there's hundreds of people that worked on this for days and years, possibly, of their lives? It's not two people making a movie. So yeah, it's just like any job. A lot of people get taken advantage of, but writers specifically really get screwed, and their ideas get stolen all the time. So for them to go for them like this and win with a jury was a big deal. Like I said, I'm breaking it down into basic things. Yeah, you sent me your script. I said, no, I don't want to do that. You bought the script, but then I was like, hey, remember that thing that regular Joe Schmo sent us? Let's make that anyway and just screw him over, and he ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it. Well, my uncle wasn't going to take that. But let's continue the article. A jury has ordered 20th Century Fox to pay $19 million for stealing a high school teacher's ideas for what became the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Jingle All the Way. The 1996 movie about the last-minute quest of two fathers for an in-demand Christmas toy has grossed $183 million. The movie was credited to Ed McQueen, who the lawsuit claims is really Fox script reader Randy Kornfield. But the U.S. District Court jury said Tuesday the movie was clearly based on a Detroit biology teacher Brian Webster's copyrighted script Webster sent to Fox in 1994. Fox spokeswoman Florence Grace said the movie company will appeal. Fox, I think they did try, and they got like something out of civil court, but not like it's like when who else did that? Like, not to compare the two because one is a lot worse, but like O.J. Simpson did that, I'm pretty sure, right? He got not guilty, but in civil court you got to pay these families because we've proven that you jacked people up, to say the least. I do think that, like, something happened with an appeal with this, but it happened, like, years later, and it wasn't, like, anything significant. Not like what my uncle and Brian Webster were doing. But, did you guys hear that? That was an icicle that fell. Fox copied nothing, infringed nothing, and in no way violated any of the plaintiff's rights, Grace said. Fox lawyer Michael Huguet told the Detroit News that Kornfield wrote the plot outline without access to the script. See, that's what they'll do. They'll start saying, like, oh, you didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. There was no whatever, and it's like, no. During the 6-week trial, retired University of Michigan film professor Ira Neugsberg testified he found 36 points of overlap between the scripts for Jingle All the Way and Webster's Could This Be Christmas? You can't have 36 coincidences in an independently created work, said Robert Laurel. That's my great-uncle. President of Murray Hill Publications, which I contacted you guys. I don't know if you guys thought I was joking or if I was trying to get something out of you. I know you're a tiny little company. I just was asking if they had photos and stuff of my uncle, but I think they probably thought I was a crazy person, and now I'm like, I should probably send them like an official email or something that sounds better than a DM. Yeah, my uncle, this was my uncle's quote. You can't have 36 coincidences in an independently created work, said Robert Laurel, president of Murray Hill Productions, which bought the rights to Webster's play and sued Fox for violating the copyright. Murray Hill has said the dialogue, plot, and even names were all similar. The jury on Tuesday awarded Murray Hill $15 million plus $4 million in legal costs. Laurel said Webster would get an undisclosed share. I'm not going to say anything, but let's put it this way. I'm 99.9% sure the bulk of that did not come my family's direction. I think that it was distributed to the correct people is what I'm trying to say here, but I don't have factual proof of that, so what do I say? Allegedly? I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble on the internet, and I don't know the specifics, but I remember bringing that up and being like a little kid, like a dumb little kid, and being like, oh yeah, won't he, blah, blah, and my mom was like, no. And I don't know if she was just saying that or what, but it's not like they were living large or something after this happened. The script was Webster's first to be published ever. How messed up is that? But then you had somebody that had your back, which is really cool. This is a quote. This is a landmark case for independent producers, Laurel said. Hopefully it will send a message that you can't take the little guy's work and put it off as your own. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is from the LA Times. Firm wins lawsuit against 20th Century Fox. A small Detroit publishing firm won a $19 million lawsuit against 20th Century Fox after a jury in Michigan agreed that the studio had stolen the script for a hit Christmas movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Murray Hill Publications claimed in the lawsuit that the script for the 1996 movie Jingle All the Way bore a remarkable resemblance to the screenplay Could This Be Christmas, written by a high school teacher, Brian Allen Webster. The screenwriter for Jingle All the Way, listed as Ed McQueen, was actually an alias for Randy Cornfield, a script reader. Now, if you know what a script reader is, this is what I mean. If you know how studios work, so let's say they'll get 50 scripts, and 3 of us are hired to just script read, and then we're like, I think these 3 are good, and the other 45, chuck them out or store them away, whatever these. Maybe a couple of them will store away, they might be good. So what they're saying is, this script got sent in, a script reader read it, and then if they are like, hey, I think this might be good, it gets passed along to producers and things like that. Well, this script reader said, yeah, no, we're not going to do this one, but then passed off the idea to the producers and the people at the studio anyway. And they were like, yeah, let's go with that. According to a legal lawsuit, before I keep going. And you like how they put an alias in there? What a bunch of sneaky bastards. Like they wouldn't know. Like, because that's what I mean here. Like, so this script reader went under a fake name in the credits, and was a writer on the movie, on the screenplay. And then didn't want his real name on there? Is it because you didn't want them to find out that this guy sent his script to you guys and you were the script reader? Listed as Ed McQueen, was actually an alias for Randy Cornfield, a scriptreader at 20th Century Fox, said Mayor Morgenroth, a lawyer for the publishing firm. Murray Hill, which bought the rights to Webster's screenplay, pitched it to several movie studios, including 20th Century Fox, a unit of News Corp. In 1993, without finding any interest, soon after 20th Century Fox purchased the rights to Jingle All the Way, which grossed $80 million at the box office and through video sales. Lawyers and officials for 20th Century Fox did not return telephone calls from anyone seeking a comment. Yeah, you sound really innocent. Let's do one more. A jury in Ann Arbor, Michigan yesterday resolved a long-running plagiarism suit by naming Detroit teacher Brian Webster as the bona fide author of the 1996 Arnold Schwarzenegger film Jingle All the Way. The film's backers, Fox, were ordered to pay out a whopping $15 million in compensation. Oh my God, this is in London. This is in London. That's what I mean. This was like a big deal that they were stepping up like this, and to have... They were, like I said, they were calling it the David versus Goliath of Hollywood. Like, they were like, there's no way you can win this. Do you know how much money they have? Do you know how much backing they have? And he was like, my uncle was like, I don't give a shit. They are in the wrong. Let's go. And I'm like, God, I miss him. I can't believe this is in London. Jeez. This is like worldwide publications were talking about this. Oh my God. And I was in the 3rd grade when this started. One would have imagined that few people would want to claim credit for Jingle All the Way, a Duff Yuletide tale in which Arnie pants and wheezes his way through town in search of a Christmas gift for his son. But biology teacher Webster claims that Fox stole this idea for the film after reading the script he sent in. His lawsuit contended that the film's credited screenwriter, Ed McQueen, was actually a pseudonym for the Fox scriptreader, Randy Cornfield. After weighing up the evidence, the jury agreed with him and ruled for the little David instead of the multinational Goliath. Fox must now pay $15 million to Murray Hill Productions, the small independent company in which bought the film's rights from Webster. It is thought that Webster will walk away with a sizable portion of that sum. And I'm glad. I'm happy that he did. I'm delighted for this is my uncle's quote. I'm delighted for Brian Webster, who is the rightful creator of this project, Murray Hill president Robert Laurel said yesterday. Hopefully it will send a message that you can't take the little guy's work and pass it off as your own. Fox said that it will appeal against the ruling. In the meantime, Webster is jingling all the way to the bank. See, this is the crazy part of me. I'm like, this one's in Buffalo, the other one's in New York, the other one's in LA, the other one's in London. It's wild. And then I'm like I said, as a kid, you don't understand that. And then it's like now even then I had like a passion for stories and books and movies. But like now that it's like a big thing, it's just like, I miss him and I wish he was here for not even just to talk to. But it's like, this was a big deal. That was my great Uncle Bobby. And He was awesome. Like I said, I loved him. I loved my great uncle Bobby. It was the funnest going over there, and I want to know if the tombstone's still there. But yeah, if you haven't seen the Rosary Murders, check that out. I'll review that. I'll definitely review that soon. But yeah, he went by Robert Laurel, but that was like a stage name. But yeah, and I think, like I said, I think if you Google him, he comes up as musician. And he was a musician. Everybody in my family was musicians. My dad, all my uncles, my grandpa Bobby, everybody. But yeah, this is just something in my life that I don't like. If somebody brings up Jingle All the Way, I'll be like, yeah, my uncle sued them, and they're like, what? And like even people that are super close to me, like I posted about this, I was like, yeah, my uncle sued Jingle All the Way, and they're like, what, Abby? And I was like, yeah. I thought, like, I don't know, I just don't bring it up all the time. I don't know, but yeah, big deal for writers, and it was a big deal for, like, I'm stepping up to the big guy, and I respect that. I miss him. I love him, and yeah, if you haven't seen the Rosary Murders, Donald Sutherland's there. Check it out. It's good, and he was so proud of the fact that, like, they used Detroit, and he filmed here, and like I said, he worked gigs at night to make sure he could produce these things, and it was, I don't know, I'm really proud of that, and like I said, I just thought it was fitting on Christmas Eve, after I'm running around trying to grab gifts for people, to talk about Jingle All the Way, and the fact that my uncle sued them and won. But I'm Abby with Motor City Nerds. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. If you don't celebrate, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have your time off work. Spend some time with your family. Time is the one thing that you don't get back. And just remember that the little things in life are what matter. And yeah, stay safe out there. If you're in the Midwest, man, dude, did the East Coast get hit like this? It is bad outside, and but I do love having a white Christmas. I do love having a white Christmas. But yeah, I'm on OnlyF, and I'm on Twitch, and I'm on TikTok, and I'm on all the stuff, and it's all down below. But yeah, maybe I'll try to email Murray Hill Productions instead of DMing them, because like I said, I just want to know, like, do you guys have, like, photos of my uncle or anything like that? And then I don't want to say, like, too much information about his son, but he doesn't work in film, but he has a really cool job. Let's put it this way, I got to pet a rhino because of him, and it was sick. It was really cool. And yeah, no wonder he went into working with animals and stuff, because your dad had a lion in the yard. This is all making sense now. Family things are all coming together now in my head. Make sure you subscribe, comment, share. It really helps me out. Like I said, as a movie, yeah, it's a fun, good time. I like this. Bring Sinbad back. Let's bring Sinbad back. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I kind of find it funny that this got sued, and so did the Hunger Games, right? Oh, and my uncle worked with Donald Sutherland, and Donald Sutherland's in the Hunger Games. But either way, yeah, like I said, this is a common thing that happens. People just stealing ideas and then going, yeah, I came up with that. And it's like, no, that's not cool to do, and to screw somebody over. But, yeah, make sure you subscribe. It really helps me. We have fun over here, and I'm so geeked to be on break, guys, because we got Interview with a Vampire stuff to talk about. We got Mayfair with just stuff to talk about. We're just going to talk about Game of Thrones for funsies. We're going to have a House of the Dragon for funsies. We're here. And I hate my job. I hate it so much. It's killing me. It's killing me. It really is. They're going to terminate me in the next month. I guarantee you guys I'm going to get terminated for some obscure reason again. And I just got my 4th award for being an exemplary employee and a great employee. I got my 4th one a week ago, and I guarantee you that because in the middle of a snowstorm, I was my shift starts at 6. I was on my job at 6:03. And then they came up and they were like, yeah, well, you were tardy. And I was like, okay, I guarantee you they're going to terminate me over this. So I give it about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, and I'll be fired again. And then a month later, they'll call and go, please come back. And I'm going to go, I don't know about all that. I'd rather be happy and make less money than continue to be put through hell by the UAW. Especially after remembering all this and rereading all of it. I'm like, my uncle would be ashamed of me if I back down with my fight now against this huge entity that everyone tells me I'm going to lose. I don't care if I'm going to lose, because they're in the wrong and they treat people like shit. Not everybody, I understand that, but because I know some people watch my videos, but we all know that specific members treat people like shit, and that's all I'm going to say, and that people get targeted, and that people get retaliated against, and then people don't get believed, and yeah, it's not okay, and I will scream that from the rooftops no matter how crazy they try to make it seem, and no matter how crazy they try to make me out to be, because I know I'm in the right.